Welcome back to Keepin' It Comic, and today we are finishing off the Superior Avengers with issue number 6. Now, Abomination was found to be Annihilus, and Annihilus is now going crazy in Kristoff's lab. I mean, he has Dr. Octopus with one arm, and she's like, we're supposed to be safe here, Killmonger. And over on the other side, Onslaught's fighting off a different arm, and Killmonger's like, safety is relative. So long as we don't let the dragon emerge in its entirety. It may not be strong enough to conquer this world too. And just then, who comes to a portal? Kristoff and Ghost. Kristoff's like, my God. And Ghost responds, we're too late. The Superior Avengers brought Annihilation down on us all. And this picture of him still trying to emerge from Abomination's body is crazy. But Kristoff jumps into action immediately. He's like, no, I refuse to see ground. We are in my father's castle. This foul beast has no place in these hollowed halls. Abomination lets off a scorch. Now, please bear with me, my screeches and scorch dialect is a little rusty, but I think this translated to FU. And Killmonger's like, the time platform. This era is no longer our concern. And as Abomination continues to destroy the castle while screaming out FU, I don't know if he's singing CeeLo Green or what. But anyway, we jump back into the future. Now, this is very important that you pay attention to the timestamp here, because this is Anno Doom plus 128. And this is going to play a major factor later on in the story. But anyway, I believe this is Bullseye. Please bear with me if I'm botching up who this is. They have no clear indication of who this is. But Bullseye is standing over a recently deceased Dr. Doom. And he says, you think there was anything to old Doomer's threats though, Killmonger? And as he reaches for Dr. Doom's medallion, he says, wolves at the door and all that. And as soon as he touches the medallion, boom, he is obliterated. Now, once again, there's another character I'm not too sure on, but they say Doom was at least serious about taking all magic with him. It seems, even in death. And Malekith responds, what a shame. Terribly overcooked. Like, bro, he has to be the funniest character of this whole thing to me. But Killmonger responds, we should assume Doom left many such traps in this wretched keep. Perhaps it would be wisest if we leveled the castle and started anew. And just then, Onslaught says, ritually symbolic, if perhaps a bit impract. And that other person says, what now? Psychic tripwires or something? And he responds, no, I just had the not altogether unpleasant sensation of many thousands of lives being snuffed out at once. I can't quite put my finger on the source of such carnage. And outside the castle, we see Annihilus in his true form. But back in present time, the Superior Avengers are getting wrecked. I mean, Doc Ock is like, we survived this monster once. It may have pursued us across time, but it's not so easy to defeat superior intellect like, Killmonger, you've got to help me. My ribs, I think I've punctured. And as she's pleading for help, look who's sneaking up right behind her. She continues, Killmonger, can't you hear me? Damn you. I said I need your... And before she could finish that sentence, Annihilus takes a bite out of crime. Literally. Kristoff is in shock. He says, Killmonger just let her die. Ghost reminds him, that shouldn't surprise you. It brought her time. That's all she cares about. He says, we've got to stop the dragon before it breaks free of Doomstat and threatens Latveria at large. She responds, that's a lost cause, Kristoff. The dragon can't be stopped, but Killmonger can be. And I refuse to let her get away after all the hell she unleashed. And all of a sudden, a mysterious voice says, no cause is lost, girl. Not when you trust in Doom. And my boy Dr. Doom showed up with the glow, like he always seems to do with perfect timing. But of course, Kristoff starts getting his brown nose and he's like, Father, I can explain. And Doom's like, and you will later. For now, you will follow. And we see Malekith and Onslaught are still trying to give their all against Annihilus. Malekith says, such a disagreeable bug, refusing to be squashed like all the rest. And Onslaught says, don't taunt it, Malekith. It's taken the full force of my telekinesis to hold it at bay. But Doom kicks into action, being Doom. And he says, I will give you credit, Kristoff. Although you knew not how to wield them, you did assemble suitable tools for the task at hand. And he starts wielding a spell. And Malekith says, what a peculiar. And just then, he splits in half. Now, if you remember from what we learned in issue 4, this Malekith shouldn't exist. See, he's actually the power of All Black, the Necrosword, and Undrawn, the All Weapon. And Dr. Doom, with all his knowledge, already knew this and puts him back into his original forms. He says, the golem is unpredictable, left in its own free will. It requires a steady hand to guide the energy it contained. Choose a weapon, Kristoff. Kristoff, being as soft as ever, says, Is Malekith still aware? Doom says, do not concern yourself with questions beneath your bearing. He responds, of course, father, of course. And Doom responds, and do not think of that as a sword with which we'll slay the dragon. Consider it a key that will lock it out of our world. Now, I recognize the properties of this helmet. It prevents psychic intrusions, correct? Onslaught's like, Doom, don't break my concentration. Doom comes and snatches the helmet off. He's like, give me that. He says, a mutant telepath of your stature should be able to engage a being like this on a relatively even playing field. Do not resist a true meeting of the minds. And we see Kristoff charging in. Lock the dragon out. I see him he's like such a little kid whenever Doom's around. It kind of annoys me, but it's funny at the same time. But anyway, Onslaught's like, such existential despair, such bottomless nihilism, utter annihilation in every form. I've never been exposed to such endlessly bleak thoughts. And Doom responds, true power means peering into such voids without weakness or hesitation. Don't blink, Onslaught, not now. Kristoff closing in with the charge. Abomination. If it's using him as some sort of conduit, bam, he's sliced on the back. I will not fail you, father. Not again. And he slices him right at the neck. And while this is going on, Onslaught's had it. He's at his limits with this. And Doom says, it appears I am called upon to offer my mercy. And he smashes his skull in. But I hope you guys haven't forgotten, Killmonger's on the run. And she says, at last, I would not taste death in the dirt of Latveria, not after all that I have served. And just then, Ghost pops up out of nowhere, looking like when you use the teleport with Noob Saibot, the down-up command coming out the ground. She's like, nah, get over here. And Killmonger says, coward, backstabber. And Ghost responds, is it nobler to stab in the gut? And as Killmonger goes in for a deadly charge, she says, do not speak as if you know what I have endured. And at that moment, she phases through Ghost. And as Ghost takes her mask off, she says, I don't care what you've endured. You sure as hell won't make it out of this. We're about 50 feet underground in an isolated air pocket. I've seen firsthand the horrors you've inflicted on others. This feels nearly punishment enough for you. And Killmonger looks on and says, you're not the Ghost. Who are you? And she responds, I'm every person you and the other acolytes crushed under your heel. And now, I'm the last face you'll ever see. Killmonger says, you think this is enough to stop me? I am Killmonger. I am a survivor. I will show you how I earn my name and make a true ghost of you in turn. And Ghost simply turns and says, good luck with that. You'll have to find me first. And takes off. I love how she turned her escape almost into like a little kid's game. But anyway, Kristoff's like, we did it. We vanquished the dragon. And Doom responds, is there pride in your voice, Kristoff? Are you proud of the ruins of that part of the castle that litter my courtyard? Or perhaps the team you recruited reduced to so much awful? Kristoff says, Father, I am sorry. I did not intend. And Doom cuts him off. Do not dishonor us by apologizing for your failures, Kristoff. I'm not angry, just disappointed. After all, this is no less than what I expected from you. Now, if you remember, earlier I said you needed to remember the timestamp of Anno Doom plus 148, because that was the death of Dr. Doom in the future. But we jump before the death of Dr. Doom in the future to Anno Doom plus 47. 101 years before the death of Doom. And why is this important? Let me tell you. We see Sorcerer Supreme Doom, and Kristoff says, "I never expected this day to come, Father." Doom responds, "You have been unflinchingly loyal, Kristoff, and I have protected this realm for nearly half a century. In doing so, I have learned all that I can as Sorcerer Supreme of Earth. But there is so much more beyond our plane of existence." And as he hands the cloak of levitation to Kristoff, he continues, "Will the people of this world accept another ruler? They bow to Doom. I am beyond such earthly concerns now. How you choose to lead is up to you." And as Dr. Doom starts to disappear, he says, "The mantle of Sorcerer Supreme is now yours. I know you will not disappoint me." And Kristoff, as he starts to gear up, says, "You were right, Father. The world needs a Sorcerer Supreme, and it shall have one. But the world also needs Doom." So just in case you haven't put this together, this changes the whole impact of the story. That means it was never Dr. Doom's fault that the future was destroyed. That was never Dr. Doom who got killed by Killmonger. That was none other than Kristoff this whole time. He ran the Earth for 100 years into chaos and caused the whole destruction of the planet. This changes everything. And where does this whole loop stem from? Just a few days after defeating Annihilus in present time, where Kristoff is back at the lab. And he says, "Doombot 71625, record a message for me. Father, by the time you receive this, I will already be atoning for my misjudgments." The creature the Superior Avengers brought back from their future was some perverse iteration of Annihilus hell-bent on destroying you. It is my hypothesis that their actions in our timeline exposed Annihilus to energies that altered his evolutionary path. Therefore, I have but one course of action. Find and destroy Annihilus now, before he can adapt. I am, after all, Son of Doom, and I will prove it. And oh man, for a conclusion, this series to me was honestly amazing. I'm glad they didn't overrun it and make it into a weak run. We know how they go sometimes when you get a great series. They did this perfectly, I think. It was great to see all the mayhem that was caused by so-called Doom, just to find out it was never Doom at all. Doom actually led the world, I guess, to peace. Well, we can assume peace until Kristoff took over and ruined everything. And just to find out, he's going to keep redoing that cycle because he thinks Annihilus is after Doom. And really, Annihilus should be after Kristoff because no one knew it was Kristoff. This is beyond crazy. Let me know you guys' likes and dislikes with this full series. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you've been rocking with these breakdowns, make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hype this video using YouTube's new hype feature. It helps push our video into the algorithm even more. And as always, thanks for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. I'll catch y'all on the next one.